So we're going to get started. This free crash PTCB course is being brought to you by LW Pharmacy School. Okay, I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. This is going to be a great year. Hopefully, you have started your year off great. Happy New Year to you. If I have not said Happy New Year to you, Happy New Year to you. May this year bring you blessings and prosperity and give you all the happiness that your heart can handle. Okay. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please make sure that you do so. LW Pharmacy School on YouTube. Defining terms. Let's talk about it. So we got drugs, right? A lot of you guys know what drugs is. And let me back up just a tad bit before I jump into this PowerPoint because I don't want somebody to watch this and then they're like, oh, Lindsay doing the same old thing she been doing. The foundation of the exam is still the same. The information that has been added to it, remember I said that we've added or they've added more information that we need to study in order to pass this new 2020 exam. But the foundation, which is pharmacology and drugs and everything, calculations and a lot of things that you already know, is still the same. So all the fear and the anxiety that you may be feeling from preparing for this new exam, kill it. It's not necessary. Okay. Drugs. I underlined it, some of the keywords that stick out to me that mean something to me. Drugs is the treatment, cure, and it is used to prevent diseases in humans or animals. Okay. We also have pharmacology here on the board or on the slide. Pharmacology is still what it's always been: the scientific study of the action of a drug on a living system. Okay, which could be a plant, animal, human, insect, anything that is any living thing that is receiving or living system that is receiving drugs. Pharmacokinetics, when you think about pharmacokinetics, we've talked about this before: absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination of a drug in a living system. Think about ADME, okay? Distribution or absorption is the manner of which the drug travels from the site of administration. It crosses the membrane and then it is entered into the circulatory system. Okay. Distribution basically is where the drug travels from the circulatory system across the barrier of the membrane to the site of action. So first it's absorbed, then it's distributed, right? Metabolism is when it basically involves the conversion of an active drug to a compound that can be easily removed, or the conversion of a product to an active drug inside the living system. We're still talking about the living system. Elimination is the process of which the drug is removed from the body or the living system. We know that things can be excreted by what? The lungs is one of the ways that it could be. The kidney, sorry, it's one of the ways that it could be excreted. Also, sweating to get out. Going to the restroom, pooping it out is another way that they can excrete the medication out of the body. Okay, vomiting is another way that can be excreted. The medication can be excreted out of the body. Narrow therapeutic index. The narrow therapeutic index, NTI. This is one of the new ones that is on the Bluetooth or the blueprint that has not been on the blueprint before, and it is the narrow therapeutic index. This is defined as those drugs for which small differences in the blood concentration may lead to dose and blood concentration dependent. What does that mean, Lindsay? Blood concentration may lead to dose and blood concentration dependent. How? Basically what they're saying is these particular drugs are or when they're used, the body can become very dependent upon the drug. Okay. Serious therapeutic failures or adverse drug reactions can happen if things are taken away too soon. Okay. What are the characteristics of an NTI? The characteristics of an NTI. It is steep drug dose, which is right here. The response and relationship within the usual dose range or narrow span between effective drugs, concentrations, and drug concentrations and concentrations associated with serious toxicity. Let's go back. Okay. And so When this is happening, if this ever happens and we have these characteristics, then it will be subjected to therapeutic drug monitoring, right? That's basically when the doctor is monitoring the patient that is being put on the particular medication. You want to make sure, that you understand what this means, the narrow therapeutic index. If you feel for whatever reason what you just heard, maybe that's not registered or is still not making sense to you, then you can actually book a session with me and we can work with this or work deeper into this topic where it could be a little bit more understood. And don't worry, I am going to do more videos where I just kind of horn in or really, focus in on the NTI. I did want to give you some examples of NTI drugs. So warfarin is a very serious drug that is used. Levothyroxine is also very serious, and that drug is used for the thyroid. We have lithium, okay, digoxin. These are some examples of NTI drugs. Are these all of the NTI drugs that exist? No, but these are just some examples of what an NTI drug is and what you can, when you're looking at those, I want that mindset to populate in your head. Pharmaceutical equivalent and pharmaceutical alternatives. Drugs is a pharmaceutical equivalent if the drug contains. So, first, let's just back up. That word equivalent, when you see that and you think about the base or the breakdown of that word, it means equal, right? Equal. Drug is a pharmaceutical equivalent if the drug contains the same quantity, the same chemical, the same dosage form, and the same route of administration. It needs to be the same chemical, same quantity, same dosage form, same route. Okay. Drugs are pharmaceutical alternatives if they contain the same therapeutic entity but are different salts. Okay. They may have different dosage forms or different strengths. Okay. Now I want to talk about when you think about the pharmaceutical equivalent and you think about the pharmaceutical alternatives, you may say, okay, well, if this one is shaped like a oval, and then you have one that's shaped like a circle, those are different. Um, I want you to know, and you can write this down, that pharmaceutical equivalents may differ in shape, the scoring configuration may be different, the release mechanism may be different, the packaging, the coloring, the flavoring, the preservatives, and the expiration time may be different. However, if it has the same chemical, the same quantity, the same dosage form, and the same route, then it is equivalent. The same dosage form. Okay, what is a dosage form, Lindsay? Tablet, capsule, liquid, elixirs, right? So let's say it's the same dosage form and it's a tablet. One of the one tablet is shaped in the oval, and then one tablet is shaped in a circle. Well, it's still a tablet, may have different shapes, but it's still the same form. That makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, again, if this is, a little confusing for you, give me a call, 903-295-5933, extension 101. I would love to hear from you. I love it when you guys call me. I don't even think people really think that I'm going to answer the phone, but I answer the phone. I told you I'm here. Factoring affecting product stabilities. Factors that affect the product stability. Factors that affect the product stability. Okay. If you have a question right now and you feel like, oh my God, I can't hold it, you can drop it in the chat. Towards the end of this video, I am going to answer questions and I will open the floor up for you to ask me questions, so that way you can walk away with some clarity tonight. But if you want to, feel free to drop your question in the chat. pH is combining two drugs that require different pH values for the final solution, which may cause the drug to break down or to precipitate. Light. Light is another factor that may affect the product stability. Okay, so we know that some medications tell us that we need to keep away from sunlight, make sure that you keep it in a dark place, that sort of thing. Um, Even when it comes to like the amber vials that we use inside the pharmacy, we typically use more of an orange vial, which is the amber, because we want to make sure that we can protect the medication. We don't want the medication to break down. Temperature. This is a big factor that affects the product stability. This is a very big factor. Heat increases the rate by which the medication degrades, and therefore, more compounded sterile medications are more stable when they are refrigerated than stored at room temperature. There is a drug, I believe the name is Glucofen, Grisefulvin. It's an antifungal drug. I can't always say the name, I can't always pronounce it, but I can spell it, okay? And so that drug, remember I told y'all before, my kid had a ringworm, and I got the drug from the store, from the pharmacy. And just like y'all, when I get to the pharmacy, sometimes I go blank. I'm like, oh my God, it's when it's pertaining to my kids, it's different. But then when I'm helping y'all, I can answer it. But then sometimes, like when it's about me, I'll just go blank. Like I don't know what that's about. I think I'm panicking and I'm going to mommy mode. I don't know. But anywho, I was like, do I need to put this in the refrigerator? And I already knew I didn't. But I was just like thinking, well, it's compounded. Do I need to put it in the refrigerator? This, that, and the third. And so not all compounded non-sterile medication needs to go in the refrigerator. But when you're talking about compounded sterile medication, they are more stable when they are refrigerated than they are room temperature. Okay. US temperature definitions. You need to know these. We talked about these before, but this is on your blueprint for 2020. And that means that this is going to be something that you may be questioned about. I do have a question towards the end of this presentation or course tonight that you will need to answer the question and tell me if it's correct. USP temperature definition. Freezer is negative 25 to negative 10. Cold is not to exceed 8 degrees Celsius. Cool is 8 degrees Celsius and 15. Room is going to be between 15 to 30. Warm is 30 to 40. Excessive heat is above 40 degrees Celsius. Dry temperature conditions do not exceed 40% of humidity at a controlled room temperature, okay? When you think about room is 15 degrees Celsius to 30. Cool is going to be 8 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. This may be where your refrigerator is. Your refrigerator may be cold. It may be cool. Somewhere in between there. Okay, you can look at your refrigerator and see what your temperature is on. Some of you guys are probably looking at your refrigerator and you might have ice chips in certain things, and that's because your refrigerator may be really, really cold. And so you want to make sure that you look at your refrigerator and that you do understand how that works. Okay. If you are just joining us, please be sure to mute your phone and mute your computer tonight. Also, if you have not subscribed to LW Pharmacy School, please make sure that you do that. We're so happy to have you. Medications that should be stored in the freezer, write these down. If you don't have, look, if you know you don't have this new book, 4th edition, Mosby, then you need to make sure you're taking notes tonight. You can watch this video as much as you need to. You know that I will post this video on my YouTube channel this Wednesday. I try to do it by 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes we get so booked inside of the office, and then we might have technical, but for the most part, it should post 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Medications that need to be stored in the freezer. We're talking about measles, vaccines, the mumps, okay, chicken pox, shingles, all of those need to be stored in the refrigerator. This kid is getting ready to get those round of shots. And so it needs to be stored in the freezer. Sorry, not the refrigerator, the freezer. Freezer. Measles, mumps, chicken pox, shingles, freezer, okay? USP NF795, beyond use date, BUD for non-sterile compounded preparation. 795 is for non-sterile compounded preparations. When you hear 795, I want you to think non-sterile. 797 is sterile. 800 is going to be hazardous drugs, and we're getting ready to talk about that in just a little bit. Okay. BUD, which is the beyond use date, that is typically given to the drug by the person who have compounded the medication, and so it should not. The drug should not be used after the beyond use date. Okay, the beyond use date. Okay. I also want you to know that when you're thinking about the beyond use date and you're thinking about, how does that work, the beyond use date, the expiration date, all of that is kind of confusing for me. And I understand. What I want you to think about when you think about that is when you're cooking, right? If you cook, let's say you cook gumbo today, and if you're down south, you would know that gumbo is like a seafood soup. If you're up north, it's a seafood soup. It has shrimp, crab, seafood, or it can have chicken and sausage or whatever. I just said that because I just recently cooked it. And so with gumbo, you want to make sure that you store it properly, right? So if I made a gumbo today, um, I wouldn't necessarily say that by January 31st that gumbo is still good. My beyond use date for that would probably be, if I made it today, it would probably be no more. And I'm funny when it comes to food because I don't want to get sick. I would say January the 18th, which is like this upcoming weekend, I believe. So and I'm stretching it out because we doing this and I'm trying to make it make sense. Basically, the beyond use date comes after the non-sterile item has been compounded. Okay, the expiration date is something that comes from the manufacturer that says if you utilize this particular ingredient, it expires on January 31st, 2020. So we want to make sure if we're going to use that ingredient, our beyond use date for that particular ingredient should not be longer than January 31st if the ingredients is expiring on that date. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I know some of you all struggle with beyond use date and expiration dates. But again, that beyond use date comes from the person who's actually compounded. The expiration date comes from the manufacturer. Storage of non-sterile products according to the USP 795. Okay. All components used in the compounding of preparations must be stored as directed by the manufacturer. So the manufacturer is going to tell you how to store it, and it's going to tell you the expiration date of that particular ingredient. So you go to the store, you buy milk. We all know that cow milk needs to be refrigerated. If it's not refrigerated for a long period of time, it will spoil, right? So the manufacturer tells you keep refrigerated. And so again, 797 or 795, sorry, um, lets you know how things should be stored, what the manufacturer has said. According to the USP 795, all components used in compounding of preparations must be stored as directed by the manufacturer. All components shall be stored off floor, handled and stored to prevent contamination, and rotated so that the oldest stock is first. What does that mean, rotated so the oldest stock is first? I'm gonna use the milk again. If you bought milk last week, you may have the expiration of January 18th. If you buy milk this week, you may have the expiration of January 25th. So we want to use the oldest milk, which is what you bought last week, first, and then go to the new milk, which you bought this week, second, right? So that way we can get the most of our product and then the most of our money. Okay. Please know that the pharmacy is thinking about money, just like how you think about money. Thank you. Rashana said first in, first out, right? So whatever we got in first, bam, use that. If it's in first, it's out first. Okay, that's good. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that. If you see that, see me using that, just know I took it from you. Okay. Shout out to her for dropping that on us. All containers shall be properly labeled. You want to make sure that you are properly labeling your container when it comes to this non-sterile product. Let's see what we got next. Storage of compounded sterile product according to the USP 797. Remember I told you 797 is sterile and 795 is non-sterile? Okay. 797, control temperature areas should be monitored at least once daily. and results documented on a temperature log. Why do you think that they want to monitor it daily? They're monitoring it daily because they want to make sure that at all times the temperature in that clean room, the temperature in that control room is where it needs to be to preserve anything that we're compounding and to make sure that everything, every material, every item in that particular room stays up to par. Storage temperature should be noted when placing or removing products from the storage. Okay, so everything that you do when it comes to sterile, we want to document it. Um, just in case something comes back wrong, something comes back not accurate, you can cover yourself and you can say, no, I wrote this down, and you put your initial by it. If you was working with Jim Daly, you're like, that's Jim Daly. He did that. I didn't do that. Lindsay did not do that. Okay. So 797 sterile products are a lot more serious and a lot more complicated, um, or crucial maybe when it comes to the storage temperature and how we should store them and how we should keep them together and that sort of thing. Storage of hazardous drug according to the USP 800. Hazardous drug 800. Sterile drug 797. Non-sterile 795. Why am I saying that? Because you need to know that. Hazardous drugs must be stored in a manner that prevents spillage or breakage. Okay. It needs to be stored in an external ventilated room with negative pressure. Negative pressure. Hazardous drug, negative pressure. Hazardous drug, negative pressure. Sterile and non sterile hazardous drugs may be stored together. Okay, they can be stored together. Refrigerated anti-neoplastic hazardous drugs must be stored in a dedicated refrigerator. So if we have a refrigerated hazardous drug, it cannot go in there with the insulin. Nope, can't go in there with the insulin. It needs to be in its own refrigerator. Okay. Hazardous drugs. What are hazardous drugs? Chemotherapy, radioactive drugs, right? Chemotherapy, remember when this thing talks about, it says must be stored in an externally ventilated room. When we are compounding chemotherapy, we compound it in a vertical laminar flow hood, and we do it for that reason because the airflow blows down. Okay, and we need that vent to blow down on the hazardous drug so that way it's not blowing towards us and blowing that hazardous drug into our face. The last thing that we want is to get sick compound. Hazardous drug 800. Okay. Now we're going to jump into some of our questions that we have. But before we go there, I do know that some of you guys are second guessing yourself. Some of you all are starting to feel like, you're not where you need to be. You may be looking at your age and you may be thinking, oh my God, I'm too old. I'm going through this. My children are there and I'm not there, or maybe you could be second guessing yourself just because of, some of the other things that didn't work out in your life. I just want to encourage you to stay the course and not to give up. Um, you may have been loyal to a job, for 10 years, and you may have been working in the same place for 10 years. Why don't you give yourself that same type of loyalty? I think sometimes we as humans all want to hear a good job and a pat on the back, and so you figure if you stay in one place long enough, you'll hear that. But you have to learn how to pat your own back, and you have to learn how to say, the same loyalty that I give to you, I'm going to give to myself. I deserve that. And so, whatever energy you put out, some of us do great things for other people that we would never do to ourselves. Stop that in 2020. This is your year to succeed. This is actually a leap year. So instead of 365 days this year, we get 366 days. One extra day to be great, to be the best you that you can be. I want to just continue to encourage you. And I want you to know that where you are right now, it's not by mistake. You are here purposely. This is the part of your destiny. Don't give up on your journey, okay? We're gonna go over about 4 different questions, about, yeah, looks like about 3 questions, and then I'm gonna open it up, open the floor up for questions that you may have. Medications. Which type of laxative is Metamucil? Which type of laxative is Metamucil? Okay. Um, if you know the answer, you can actually unmute yourself as long as your background is not that loud because we don't want it to disrupt everyone else. But if you know the answer, unmute yourself and let's hear it. What type of medication is Metamucil? Would you say it's bulk forming, lubricant, stimulant, or stool softener? Anybody wants to answer that? Oh, I got some. Okay, look, I got some people dropping in the chat saying D. Who else agrees with D? Courtney, what's your answer?
Stool softener, D.
Stool softener. Okay. I see somebody said C. Okay. The correct answer is A, bulk forming. Which type of laxative is Metamucil? It's a bulk forming laxative. Okay. It's not a stool softener. It's not a lubricant. It's not a stimulant. It is a. Alicia Hunter put A. Go ahead, Alicia, with your bad self, getting the answers right. Okay. Medical disorder. Which disorder is also known as manic depression? Now, I went and I tried to find somebody that looked like they could represent manic depression. I don't know if I nailed it or not, but I sure tried. Would you say ADD, ADHD, bipolar disorder, or neurosis? Alicia says C. Does anybody else agree with Alicia? Which disorder is known as manic depression? C. Okay. C. C. Okay. C. Yep. The correct answer is C. Yes. Y'all so smart. Come on. Y'all better get these answers right. Narrow therapeutic index. Now, if you wrote down that list, remember when I went through that slide like 10 minutes ago? If you wrote it down, you're going to get this right. If you remember what I said, you're going to get it right. Now, if you don't remember, then that's on you. Narrow therapeutic index. Which of the following medication has a narrow therapeutic index? Which of the following medications has a narrow therapeutic index? Will we say A, B, C, or D?
B.
B. Yes, yes. The correct answer is B. Yeah. Oh, look at y'all. I'm so proud. Y'all was listening. Y'all make me feel so good. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all gonna pass in 2020. Come on, 2020. Show out. Storage temperature. At what temperature should insulin be stored? At what temperature should insulin be stored? Is it below 8 degrees Celsius, between 8 degrees and 15 degrees Celsius, between 15 and 30, or above 40 degrees Celsius? What would you say?
B.
Somebody said B. Who else agrees with B? Does anybody else agree with B, the letter B?
B.
Yes, the correct answer is B. Thank you so much for chiming in. You can book your first session using this link when I post this video to YouTube on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. The link will be in the description and you can actually click it and book. First thing that you're going to need to do is book your session. The second thing, you will receive a PayPal invoice from me. Complete your PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, debit or credit, no cash whatsoever. The second step is to download the Zoom app. If you're going to be using your cell phone, I love my phone. But if you're going to be using your cell phone and you don't have any other means, then you need to make sure you download the Zoom app. And it looks like this, okay? If you're using your computer, when I email you the link, all you need to do is click the link. Once you click the link, it's going to ask you to run the program onto your computer. You say yes, you want to run the program, okay? You only need to do this one time. because once you do it, it's there and it's good. Um, and so then once you do that, you'll run it, you'll save it, you'll join audio, join computer audio so I can hear you talking through your computer like how you hear me. You'll join video so you can see me and I can see you. And that's it. And we keep it rocking and we push through from there, okay? If you fail, never give up because fail means first attempt in learning. It's never the end because end means effort never dies. If you get no as an answer, remember no means next opportunity. Positive thinking is what's going to help us get to the finish line. Okay. Don't want you to ever doubt yourself. I have truly enjoyed you all tonight. Every time we get an opportunity to be together and to work together, it just shows me how much and how dedicated you are to your success. I'm wishing you guys the very best. If there's anything that I can ever do to be a resource, to be helpful to you, feel free to call me 903-295-5933, extension 101. I want to see a lot of you all pass this year. We had over 85 students passed the exam from August to December. And a lot of them are saying, Lindsay, all I did was start watching YouTube and I did exactly what you told me to do. I even give you test strategies and ways to test. I talk about in the first 30 minutes of your exam, only do the ones that you know and repeat that process until you're done, right? I also tell you to center yourself. I don't recommend that you study the day before, the day of the exam, because when you do that, you're going to say, everything that I studied wasn't on the exam. You know why? Because your brain is only thinking about what you just studied. It ain't even thinking about what you did 2 weeks ago because you just put some other information and now it's looking for what it just seen. I do this free crash course every second Monday of the month. I will tell you that because of the time that I have here, I don't go into as much detail as I do in my one-on-one sessions, or it doesn't go into as much detail as our 15-week online course. LW Pharmacy School does offer a 15-week online program that you can join and you can get more information about by going to lwpschool.com. You can also send an email to info@lwpschool.com and somebody will respond to you. But I do offer this free class every second Monday of the month. We go live and we work together. Um, but if you need more detail and more in-depth help and correction and clarification, that's where you want to book that session with me, or at least take that or take the course. It's up to you. But again, it's been an absolute pleasure. It is 7:52 my time, Central Standard Time. May you continue to be the very best version of you that you can be. 2020 is a brand new year. It's a brand new opportunity to do something you've never done before. Don't let anything in your past deter you, okay? You are on the right track. You're on the right journey. You're headed where you need to be. Continue to be you. And whoever is around you that does not celebrate you and your purest form that you are right now, then they may not be for the journey. And that's okay. But as you continue to study, I am a resource. I upload new videos every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Continue to be you. Continue to do what you need to do. I'm here for you as a resource. If there's anything I can ever do, feel free to reach out to me. It has been an absolute pleasure. It has been an absolute joy to be here with you tonight. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Good night. See you guys later.